everybody. Hi, Carrie. Hello, May. Nice to see you. If you can turn your cameras on, that would be great. I am streaming live to the Make Life Delicious page. And those of you who are with me on Zoom, thank you for joining me on Zoom, and hopefully we will see some more people on Zoom. I'm hoping that the technology here is gonna all work out okay. So can you guys see my screen? Do you see this picture of my banner? All right, Carrie, it's nice to see you. May, type into the chat where you're calling in from, please. I mean, where you're joining in from. Tell me where you're joining in from. If you're joining in from the United States, if you're joining from another place, tell me where you're joining in from. Okay. Cool. Yes. Oh, May, that's awesome. Excellent. May is joining us from Malaysia. Fantastic. Carrie's from Connecticut. Woohoo! East Coast. And Teresa's joining us. I'm not sure where Teresa's going to be joining from, but if you can hear me, Teresa, type into the chat where you're joining in from. So just gonna check for a second to see if this is streaming correctly. Sorry, just give me 1 minute. So I have a lot in store for you, and it looks like it is streaming. Excellent. Awesome. Great, Teresa. Newport Beach, California. Thank you for joining us so early in the morning. And May, what time is it over there in Malaysia? What time, May? What time is it over there in Malaysia? Tell me. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm really excited. This is going to be a journey this week. And 1:04 a.m. May, yoo-hoo, you get the prize for staying up late to be with us today. Excellent. Well, this is my medicine for you all, is to inspire you to think about your health differently this week. And there's a lot of myths out there in terms of weight loss, in terms of health. We're all busy and we're going through such a hard time in our lives right now. And I want to just share all of the goodies that I've been able to do with clients in having remarkable success. And let me just move this. Hold on a second. So those of you who don't know me personally yet, my name is Tina Hong. I am Korean. I'm a health coach and a lifestyle nutritionist. And for the last 10 years, I've been working with clients to help them lose weight and change their health around. I have a holistic health coaching practice, and basically my approach has been real food and having the right components of food to be able to nourish ourselves, to lose weight, decrease inflammation, and heal our bodies. When we are carrying too much weight around, excessive weight, we are actually in a state of inflammation. So I really approach weight loss and the healing journey and our health journey from a healing perspective. And, I partner with all kinds of practitioners, healers over the years, and I've learned the best from the best leaders in the nutrition and wellness market. And I really believe food is medicine, and it can affect the way you feel physically, but it can also affect the way we feel emotionally. And there's a lot of ties with food and emotions, and I'm going to get into a lot of that today. So today, this week, it's about priceless strategies to have an unstoppable mind and body. And really, over this week, today, we're kind of redefining our new vision of health. And then day 2, we're going to get into hypertuning, elevating our awareness of our mind and body, because often we are not completely conscious. We're on autopilot most of our days, in terms of really being able to tune into, are we feeling full? Are we feeling achy? Are we feeling, we're just kind of plowing through on the day-to-day basis, and living very unconsciously often, and it's an autopilot thing. So there's a huge, great difference between knowing what to do and doing it. And a lot of clients come to me and say, I know what to do, but I'm just not doing it. Well, it's about automatic patterning that has happened over the years. If you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, this is years and decades of automatic programming of how we reward ourselves and how we change our day-to-day habits. So day 3, we're going to get into improving our body composition, and I'm bringing in an amazing, well-seasoned fitness expert who's been all over the news. And I'm really excited to bring him on. Actually, he's coming on Thursday. I have had to change schedule because we were navigating his schedule. So actually, the improving the body composition is happening on Thursday. That just changed this morning, so I was a little scrambling. And then I want to talk about eating for your metabolism. And that's really my sweet spot in terms of food and nutrition. And, there's a lot of myths out there in terms of what we need to eat to actually lose weight. And some of this information will be very different for you. And then lastly, at the end of the week, we're going to talk about a game plan and really getting a game plan together, because without a game plan on a day-to-day basis, it's so difficult for us to really be able to change our habits, our mindset, and our physical health. And so if you have been on this path of, charging after success and your destiny as a leader in business, or you're a CEO of your household, really kind of handling your family, handling your business, handling all the things that you're trying to achieve, and your health has taken a back seat, this place is for you. You're in the right place. And if you've been experiencing mystery illnesses or digestive disorders or chronic pain or interrupted sleep, these are the things that are symptoms that our health is taking a back seat. So let's try to turn that around. So today we will reimagine a new paradigm of health with a renewed sense of action and focus. And so I want you to really think about taking this opportunity over this week to tune in and participate on a daily basis. And every day, this is kind of it's a challenge. So I want this to be motivational. Every day you have an opportunity to win $250 to work with me personally to talk about your specific health. So every single participation and engagement that you participate in over this week, you will be rewarded, okay? So our mind and our body and our habit, that's everything. And your DNA is not your destiny. actually. So if you're pre-diabetic, or if you have chronic disease, or if you've been carrying around excessive amounts of body fat for a significant amount of time, believe it or not, it's not your destiny. That you can, and it's totally possible to change that around. And what you eat and how you move and how you script your life in terms of the lifestyle choices that you make can actually turn that around. And it's totally, totally possible. Over the years, I've helped people lose up to 100 pounds of body fat. And my personal mission in life is to really help people one by one in this world to save themselves, to save their lives. And I'm going to get into that a little bit in terms of a story. But what does unstoppable health mean? It means having no physical or mental barriers to achieve your goal. It means aligning our big dreams, like all the things that we want to accomplish on a day-to-day basis, and synchronizing that and aligning that with our daily efforts. So it's not just one thing to have a big dream, but if we can actually align that with our daily in and out efforts, you become so much more capable, so much more available to do the things that you want to do. And the synchronization of our mental, emotional, rational, physical, and spiritual well-being, the synchronization of all those components are really important. And oftentimes we forget one or two of those things and we are off balance. And it's hard. This is really hard work to turn your health around. This is really hard work to lose even 10 or 20 pounds of body fat when you are actually struggling with so many different things that may be interfering with your well-being on a day-to-day basis. The way I work as a health coach, there's 3 pillars of vitality. It is about nourishment on and off the plate. It's about our habits, and it's about our mindset. So I'm going to repeat this theme throughout this week, and I'm going to show you how this comes into play. I'm going to teach you about how this comes into play specifically for your life. And we're going to go through exercises and homeworks. Okay. So each day you'll have a little bit of an assignment, very easy assignment. And you're going to be in the Make Life Delicious page and posting either pictures or comments so that you're engaged with this, that you're in the game in terms of really taking the steps and actions to change things around. So I want to tell you a little bit about my friend Jonathan. This is a little story. Jonathan died a few years ago. He had it all, okay? So he had the business, he had the success, he had a beautiful family, he had the boat, he had the car, the huge house, he had a vacation home. He had it all, and everybody loved him. Everybody loved him so much. And he was joyful, but he worked so hard. He was on the road 90% of the time, and every chance he had, he would spend time with his family. Well, he died before his 50th birthday. And for years and years, he had been putting his health on the back seat because he was so driven to take care of his family and take care of the things that he wanted in terms of desiring all the things that the American dream in terms of the boat and the house and, the vacation home and everything. And he was a beautiful soul, and he went too fast, and nobody expected that. He died of a massive heart attack before the age of 50. So I don't know about you, but if you know somebody, if you know someone close to you, this is real business. This is real. This is the real deal. You don't know how quickly and how unexpectedly your life can be taken away from you. And it's a shame that he left his family and his beautiful children and his wife behind because he had dreams of having an amazing life until old age. So it's about now. It's about the choices that you make now. So let's just briefly talk about, how stress affects us. 77, and this is the United States. And May, you're from Malaysia, and I'm sure there's stressors in Malaysia too. But basically, the percentage of people who are experiencing physical symptoms from stress is 77%. So physical symptoms, meaning high blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, joint pain, all of those things are physical symptoms, not just about what you eat, but it is also about stress. And this is the killer of it all, honestly, truly. And what are those top causes of stress in the United States? Job pressure, okay? In the US, we are working, and there's a lot of work overload. We're working 40, 60 hours a week. And those people who are self-employed, who are seeking to generate wealth, generate security, that is a major cause of stress. Maybe money is a major cause of stress, and the money issue can come from medical expenses. It can come from a loss of job. It can come from this whole pandemic and issues that we can't even like control, right? And then the number three top cause of stress is health. And believe it or not, when you get into a situation where you are in health crisis and you're dealing with terminal or chronic illness, that is at a point where the turnaround is much more difficult to make. So right now, you're with me right now, you're breathing, you are healthy, generally healthy. Maybe you're starting to have symptoms, okay? But right now is the most important time to be able to actually take the steps to turn it around. And believe it or not, before you know it, you're going to be, if you get to a point in a healthcare crisis where you can't turn it around, it's much, much more difficult to regain the steps. And from a personal story standpoint, I'm just going to stop this for a second. From a personal story standpoint, I want to talk about why I'm doing this. For 10 years, I was a healthcare advocate and medical coordinator for my dad, who had stage 4 cancer for 10 years. All the doctors said he was going to die over and over and over again. And every single time, at every turn of the cancer, he beat it or just kind of got by. But at that point, it was too late. And ultimately, he did pass away and we lost him, but he fought for his life. So it's the things that we do today actually are seeding our future. And it really makes a huge difference in terms of being able to turn things around now versus when it's too late. So I just wanted to kind of briefly share about that. There's no reason why people should be suffering for the rest of their lives. So life stresses come into place. Maybe you're going through marital changes, you're going through financial changes, you're going through family dynamic changes. And then on top of that, you're starting to see symptoms of a health breakdown. You're seeing symptoms of being overweight and feeling aches and pains. We want to live a life that is going to be unstoppable. All of these things, that life stressors that get in the way of our health, is practice, is actually about doing things on a day-to-day basis that actually can prevent that kind of interference from your ultimate goal of living a life of fulfillment and longevity. And this is about longevity. This is not just about today or this moment, but it's about what you do today and at this moment that is going to seed your future. So, on the scale of 1 to 10, tell me how much stress and anxiety do you feel about your business, whether it be your family business, like, you're, taking care of your family, taking care of your, if you're self employed or an entrepreneur or a small business owner. On the scale of 1 to 10, chat in the box or the comments, please, what your level of stress is, 10 being the most extreme and 1 being, no, I'm not really that stressed. What is your level of stress, 1 to 10? So chat that into the box, into the comments section, please. What am I seeing? Anybody? So what's your scale of 1 to 10 in terms of the stress and anxiety around your business? 3 to 4, May says. Carrie says maybe 4 for her business. Teresa, do you have a level of stress and anxiety about your business or your family? Libby. Four for business. Okay. Okay. All right. On the scale of 1 to 10, okay, everybody's around 3 to 4 in terms of employment or business stress. On the scale of 1 to 10, how much stress and anxiety do you feel about your health right now? Chat that in to the comments. And those of you who are joining me on the Make Life Delicious page, please comment. Give me a comment on what's your level of stress and anxiety over your health. Carrie says 7. Anybody else? Chat that in. Put it into the comments. And in the Make Life Delicious page, if you are watching the replay, incorporate your comments below. Health is 4, okay? Libby says 6 from bad habits. Okay. It just helps me understand. Teresa, do you have a scale of 1 to 10 about your health? I didn't know if I saw that. Oh, yeah. Chat that in. So, chronic stress affects affects our business, our family health, everything. 3 on health. At 66, I'm doing good, but want to do better. Awesome. So amazing. I love that. And you look amazing for 66, by the way. So you've been doing pretty good so far, and hopefully continue on that path. So stress actually affects our ability to actually function normally on a day-to-day basis. And when I say business, it affects our ability to have mental clarity and ability to reason for ourselves and our daily habits. And it reduces our motivation and creativity. And it affects our relationships. It affects our confidence. It affects our decision making. And it affects our performance on a daily basis. And it affects our feeling of feeling secure and having direction. So stress is such a key component to our wellness. And that's a huge component to a lot of the coaching that I do, is really kind of eliminating or reducing some of that interference. So I want to ask you, what will your health look like 10, 20 years from now? This little curve here on the graphic shows our peak vitality is at the age of 30 to 40, right? That's when we are in perfect optimal health. If we get sick, we actually can recover much faster. But as the peak of 35, 40 goes down, gets old, as we age, our ability to recover our bodies and our health takes much, much longer. And the average age lifespan right now in the United States is 86 years old. And it's probably roughly the same in other parts of the world as well. But basically, 86 years old is the average lifespan, and people are living longer. So if you have kids in their 20s, they're actually going to live beyond the age of 100. So think about that. So what you do as CEOs of your households, if you are mothers or if you are spouses, think about your 20-year-olds actually will outlive you and live much longer in terms of a whole lifespan. So what we do in terms of our lives and in demonstrating leadership in our family and our businesses actually affect how they will take care of themselves down the line. And believe it or not, we're aging, right? No doubt about it. So basically, when we are in our 60s, 70s, and 80s, there's two paths we can take. You know, those people, think about those people in your life that actually either or in a walker. Yeah, Teresa, no walker for that grandma. Exactly. If you're 85, think of those people who are 85 in a walker versus those people who are 85, 90 years old, ballroom dancing. Just think about those people. Take inventory of those people in your life. What's the difference between those people? Walker or ballroom dancing at 85, 90 years old? I don't know about you, but I want to be ballroom dancing and feeling amazing at 85 years old, you know? And yeah, right on. So this is about what your health will look like 10, 20, 30 years from now. And when we are in stress mode, basically we are, we are increasing our arousal state and affects our sympathetic system. It affects our nervous system physically. When we are in happy social engagements, when we feel connected, when we feel joy and we feel grounded, it actually, we are much more able to digest our food better. We're able to resist infection. Our immune function is better. We have better feelings of oxytocin and love and circulation within our organs. But as we increase our arousal state of stress, we get into a fight or flight mode, okay? And where feelings of panic or anger or fear or anxiety come into play, it actually affects our physical symptoms as well. So basically, it affects our insulin activity, which affects our weight issues. It affects our digestion. It affects our immune response. And as we get into a freeze state, and that rarely happens, but even with this pandemic and so forth, there's a lot of emotional issues with this. There's a lot of isolation going on. There's a lot of physical isolation. Even we're not even as active because we're not going out as much in terms of quarantine. And sometimes people can experience disassociation and a shutdown and feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And at that point, actually, our heart rate and our blood pressure actually changes. And so let's just think about that. What does that mean? What does that mean in terms of being in an emergency state? We're unable to make good choices on a day-to-day basis when we are in a freeze state. And when we are feeling shame or numbness or depression, it's difficult for us to make clear choices. And it physically affects our body's ability to recover. So when you have a perception of an event that you cannot control, like this pandemic, it feeds into our thoughts and our emotions. Deep down inside into our subconscious, that it is an internal dialogue of, I'm in a stressful situation, and it triggers a physiological effect. Physically, we feel like contraction. We feel like we need to protect ourselves because this is our human being, our human nature. It's our primal nature to actually contract and protect ourselves. So our bodies begin to shut down in this stress cycle. And everything that we've done in the last 20, 30 years in terms of protecting ourselves, in terms of our habits, come into play. So if you're reaching for sugary foods, if you're reaching for excessive caffeine, excessive alcohol, if you're reaching for these things to reward and to soothe that stress cycle, this is a patterning that has been with you for a long time. Okay. And it's not going to take, you can't just use willpower to change that around, actually. You know, willpower is nothing. Like, it's not going to help. It's not going to work. So this New Year's resolution thing is not going to work just based on willpower. It's about changing your habits and making shifts one by one, changing your daily efforts in and out to actually reprogram your response. And if you're in a stress mode, and allowing that interference to affect you physically, you're constantly in a pro-inflammatory response mode. So you're constantly trying to fix, like you're just like feeding into the inflammation. And if you're not regulating, our body has a natural way of regulating and getting back to balance, getting back to homeostasis. Okay. So if we're not regulating by giving ourselves anti-inflammatory tools in terms of the right food combinations, in terms of sleep, in terms of nourishment, in terms of play, then if we're not focused on that end of the seesaw effect, we're constantly going to be in a pro-inflammatory state. And that actually affects your weight loss goals. That actually affects your middle-aged middle, the belly fat that we have going on. And let me ask you, what is your reward system? What are some ways that you typically reward yourself? Chat that into the box or into the comments for a second. I'm going to zoom through. How do you typically reward yourself when you want to feel up? What are those things? Is it alcohol? Is it sugar? Type into the chat box, basically, what are your uppers that make you happy temporarily? Exercise, great. May, that's a great example. Exercise is a sustainable reward system, right? But what are some of the things that you typically like go towards that's an easy thing? Pop open a bottle of champagne, Teresa. Okay. So champagne, yeah. So that makes you happy, right? Okay. Coffee, okay. That energizes you, right? What are some of the things that bring you down, help you relax, that you typically do at the end of the night? You whine. Maybe some of you have trouble sleeping and take sleeping pills. Maybe you are overeating wine, okay? Maybe there's television zoning out. How many of you watch excessive television for more than 2 hours a day? Give me a raise of your hand. You could do that in your Zoom or comment. Raise your hand. Who watches more than 2 hours of television a day? Okay, Netflix. Yeah, you with your wine and your Netflix, right? So you're doing this day after day after day, week after week after week. And what happens is this becomes a habit. It becomes automatic programming in terms of how we relax. So we're saying, oh, well, the best thing for me to do is just tune out, tune on the television, and have a glass of wine and tune things out. Well, I'm about to tell you that those are temporary fixes. And the work that really is ahead is to change your paradigm in terms of your patterns and your habits. And without really looking at that a little more closely and raising our awareness around that, then you're always going to go to your automatic programming in terms of the wine, the Netflix, your coffee as uppers or downers. But if you, and those things are like basically tuning things out, it's making you more unconscious. When you are eating in front of the television and you are eating in front of media or drinking wine and it's just social and so forth constantly, and you're not really understanding what it's doing to your body, that becomes subconscious. Your body starts to read that as, I want more of that. It actually is a physical response. And when I want more of that, that becomes a pattern and habit that's ingrained. And I'm talking about, are your habits today reflecting the past? Meaning, are they reflecting how you've been doing things in the past? Are they creating the future that you want? I know that seems so simplistic, but it's like, May said, exercise is a reward for her. That's terrific. Those are things that help create our future, that give us the body and the health to actually do ballroom dancing in our 70s and 80s and 90s. So I'm not here to make you feel bad about having wine and Netflix and coffee and you're tuning out in front of the TV or junk food or whatever. Let's just let go of that. That's back in 2020. I want you to make a commitment about what are the steps that you're going to take to create a whole new future, a new vision of what your future could look like. So think about that in your journal. Like, think about, what are those habits? Take a inventory about what are those habits that give you the uppers and the downers. And what are those things? What are some positive things that you can actually do to actually rebuild your body? What are those positive things? What are those things that are going to energize you? And some of those things might be connecting with people, feeling joy. It could actually mean sex with your spouses or your partners, more sex. That can actually be energizing and actually produces oxytocin and feel good hormones. Maybe it's connecting just even socially over the phone or by Zoom or with your family members. Maybe it's about physically moving your body that actually produces oxygenation to your brain. And obviously, the food component is huge as well. So let me just think about that. So Pema Chodron is a Buddhist teacher. And basically she says the process of becoming unstuck requires tremendous bravery. Every single day, in and out. We are completely changing our way of perceiving reality, like changing our DNA. And we are undoing a pattern. That is not just our pattern, it's the human pattern. It's our human condition to get into fight or flight mode. But when we are swept away by our habitual momentum on a day-to-day basis, and we don't interrupt it, not even slightly, then we're still stuck in the same place. So it's important to actually do this with practice. So this week, I invite you to practice with me, taking the next step to unstoppable health and really counterbalancing, nourishing our parasympathetic system and our response. And parasympathetic is the system that helps us produce a relaxation response. And then nutrition and mood, your relationship with food, both nourishment and on and off the plate, and recommitting to your own health as an act of service to yourself. So I've kind of outlined some steps in terms of what are those things in our life that you can think of where it's been holding you back. Is it your mindset? Is it your habits? Is it your nourishment? And when I say off the plate, it's like nourishment are those emotional rewards that happen when we're with our family, when we're with our spouses, when we're close, when we're actually feeling connected and accepted, and we feel purposed in our future. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that, and really your day one action is, where's your gap? I want you to think about where your gap is. Where is your biggest hurdle? And help me put this into the group page under my video, okay, under the comments. or chat it into the chat thread. Where is your biggest gap here? Is it about your habits? Is it about your mindset? Is it about what you're eating and how you're nourishing and self-care? Where's your biggest gap? I want you to be able to put that in so that I can help you this week. And we're really going to get into specific challenges. And I'm going to leave the last few minutes about into an open Q&A. Every day we'll have an open Q&A. So, you know, maybe your questions aren't directly related to specifically what content I'm presenting to you. Maybe it is. But basically, I want you to have the opportunity to have me as your guide and your coach, who I've worked with, had hundreds of sessions with clients to help them problem solve their health challenges. So I want you to take advantage of that every single day this week. So day one action is to identify what's your gap in terms of your pillar. Where's the hardest part for you, so that I can help you and I can direct this content over this week to be able to actually support you and deliver something that is going to be super valuable for you on a day-to-day basis. So this is about interaction this week and having the opportunity to experience live coaching. And if you've never experienced live coaching, you can actually accelerate your goals in half the time by actually having the coaching experience and having that accountability and having someone to guide you through the process. Because when you say, there's a huge difference of, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. I know what to do, but I'm not doing it is a huge gap. And how you're doing it obviously hasn't been working, or it's been working to a limited capacity. And you're here for a reason, to really problem solve around your health and your weight issues. And so here's your chance. Experience this over this week. So some questions are coming in. Teresa, what is your impression of all the fad dieting like keto, intermittent fasting, and so forth? Good question, Teresa. So I can get into nourishment in terms of nutrition and diet. So everybody's different, right? Everybody's in a different place. Maybe you only need to lose 5 pounds of body fat. Maybe you need to lose about 100 pounds of body fat. That's a huge gap, huge spectrum of where you are. So the way I approach, it's not about a fad. It's about science. It's about what you eat actually can cause inflammation, or it can actually decrease inflammation and heal your body. So my dietary approach is really about low carbohydrates. It's about really utilize it. You know, I mean, keto can get like completely insane in terms of what people eat on keto, but it's nutritionally sound in terms of having a higher fat diet, moderate protein, and low carbohydrate diet. Scientifically is proven to actually reverse disease and clean things up. But a lot of people have a difficult time going from one end of the spectrum of having sugar and lots of carbs, over 100 carbs a day, to be able to actually jump into keto in a healthful manner. And so when I work one-on-one with people, we really make that transition in a much more healthful and sustainable way. And intermittent fasting can be excellent, but it also can be very emotional. And I know this personally because I experimented with it a lot. And actually, it can be very effective, but it can make you angry, depending on what your intermittent fasting schedule looks like. And I can definitely get into that more about that later this week in terms of specifics. But if you're interested in taking your health and your weight issues and to have the primo unstoppable body that you want in your 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, to lose body fat, increase muscle, increase bone density so that you are strong into your 70s and 80s, That is totally possible through diet and what you eat and the combinations. And it's difficult work because it's not just about a diet. It's about all these other things in terms of habits and your mindset. So like I can say, oh, okay, Teresa, go on an intermittent fast and do keto for 20 days and you're going to be remarkably amazed. No, that's not going to help long term. Is that going to help you get to your 70s and 80s? If you want that, to have an unstoppable body without interference from life stressors and pandemics and whatever shit goes on around us, right? Excuse my language. But basically, if you don't want to get interference like that, it's about your daily habits. It's about your daily efforts in and out and through your mindset. Yeah. So May says nourishment. So during the current pandemic. So ask me a little bit more. Can you give me something more to go on that, May? What do you mean by nourishment during the current pandemic? What are you struggling with? Tell me what's most important for you to learn this week in terms of nourishment. What's going to be important for you to be able to break through your habits and your mindset this week and to come up with a game plan that's going to turn things around? So May, chat that and put it into the chat box so I can see. Explain to me what is it you're struggling with, So I'll come back to you, May, while you're typing that in. Libby says, need help breaking the bad habit cycle. Yes. So I that's pretty general. Yeah, I want you to break that bad habit cycle. So what is it specifically? Where's your gap, Libby? Where's your gap? Like what specific bad cycle is it that you need to break, you think? Think about that. What is it specifically? Where do you need to start? Where's the hardest for you in terms of struggle? Is it about putting the food together? Is it about knowing what to eat? Where's the hardest part for you? Is it about your habits, what you do every day? Is it about your mindset? Like it's not possible to lose weight. It's not possible to turn my health around. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling isolated. I don't feel supported. Like that's the mindset piece. Or is it the habits piece, your daily interactions with your family? What happens at the kitchen table or what happens in front of the television? Where is your biggest struggle? So anybody? So Libby says, yes, my mindset and habits are so closely related. I know, but I'm asking you, Libby, I'm going to challenge you. Where is your biggest gap? And then I'm going to come back to you. Carrie says, I struggle with sticking to the low carb style, eating not so much due to cravings, but more about lack of planning. That's a good one. Time to prepare better foods, right? So let me just explain this to you. If you are having bread, pasta, rice, 3 meals a day, you're probably consuming over 200 grams of carbohydrates in one day. And what is that doing to you? Okay, you're not having cake 3 times a day, but you're having bread, pasta, rice, chips, all of that stuff, right? Maybe you're having prepared foods like takeout and delivery more than 3 times a day. So all of those things actually are feeding your chemistry in your brain. In your brain, your body is reading that as data. Food is data. So when you are having over 200, and it's very easy to have over 200 grams of carbohydrates in a day, and later this week I'll show you what that looks like. But essentially, one piece of toast is 25 grams of carbs. Most like a white toast, like our general white, or even all wheat. You think all wheat is better? All wheat is not better than white bread. So think about that. If you are having more than 100 grams, 200 grams, and most people who are completely unconscious about what they're consuming are typically having about 500 grams of carbohydrates a day, and they're carrying over 50 pounds of body fat. And that, I'll tell you right now, is a recipe for a disaster. So it's going to be difficult for you to turn that weight around when you're actually consuming that on a daily basis. And your body wants that on a day-to-day basis. Your brain is addicted. And so you asked me, like, how do I get my brain unaddicted, right? And the simple answer is just stop doing it, right? Just stop. Just stop eating that crap, right? You think that's the answer? Well, I wish it could be that easy. I wish it could be that easy. But part of it is getting unhooked from a chemical standpoint. Actually, your body starting to read different data that's coming into your mouth, into your mind, and into your habits. And I wish I could say there was a simple answer to just stop eating it, but your body's addicted. And when you are carrying excessive amounts of body fat on you on a day-to-day basis, and you're starting to feel aches and pains, that addiction is already in your body fat. It's in your fat cells, in your adipose cells, okay? Your body fat. And when you have body fat wrapped around your organs, your liver, your stomach, and your pancreas, and your intestines, that's when it's very dangerous and it shows up in your middle. And that's when it becomes a health issue. So let's just think about that. I struggle with sticking to the, okay. Anything. So May, can you ask me a specific question about your nourishment? And we're gonna, after May's question. So Teresa said, the biggest struggle is stopping the autopilots after habits, after dinner. It's a strange mindset that takes over the older you get, especially after 60. Because you see so many people passing away. I'm so sorry you just lost your brother-in-law at 61. So I say to myself, just treat yourself to that time at night, alone with my amazing husband, drinking wine and watching a good show. That's awesome. I love that. And I'm so sorry about your brother-in-law. You know, we are losing so many people for various reasons. And this pandemic is like, it's kind of a huge wake-up call, isn't it? And what's happening is those people who are dying for one reason or another at 61 years old, if it's for COVID reasons, they're already struggling. They're already struggling with some kind of pre-existing condition. That is about 98% of the people who are dying of COVID today. It really is the fact. So Teresa says it was a sudden stroke, and I'm really sorry about that. You just, we don't have control. When, you know, I used to have an old friend, Henry, when I lived in Boston, and he said to me, you never know when your time is up, right? If God says it's your time is up, right? And we don't know when that's going to happen. So every day having gratitude and doing our part to actually really understand the mechanics of how food is translated to data in our lives, in our health, and rebuilding tissue, in recovering our immune health on a day-to-day basis is so critical. So there's a lot of crap out there on the internet that is just myths. So this is not just about a weight loss thing. You know, this is about a permanent health turnaround that I'm talking about. So I encourage you to snuggle up with your spouses and your husbands and enjoy watching a show. But if you're handling the rest of your day in terms of putting your health on the back seat, you know, what's the point of that when you're not really actually investing in your health long term? Every single bite is a choice. Every single action is a choice. And you have the power to change that. You have the power to change that right now. And this week, I want you to take a whole new refocus commitment into what that means and where your gap is. So today, tonight, think about, where is your biggest gap? Bring that gap to the table, to this group, to me, and let me help you. Let's help each other, okay? Because this is not easy to do alone. And in the Make Life Delicious group page, I want us to encourage one another and support one another and love up one another, because we're all in this journey together. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just trained to do this over and over again with clients and have seen amazing results with clients. But it's about healing your body, and this is hard work. The doctors are not going to give you all the answers. No matter where you are, whether you're in Malaysia or in the US or in other, sophisticated countries, basically, what we do right now is going to affect the next week, the next month, the next few months, and the next few years of our lives. So any other questions that I can help you with today? So I hope that that this is a good start. What did you get out of today? Give me one little comment. What's the most important thing you got today from me? Please type it into the chat. Type it into the chat. Type it into the chat what's the most important thing you got from today's lesson? Okay, Carrie says the 3 pillars idea. It's a good place to start. Libby says finding the gap. Yeah, so I want you guys to think about that. And I just want to tell you briefly before you go about my client, Lori. She came to me weighing about 240 pounds, maybe a little bit more than that, several years ago. And she started to work with me. And over the course of working together, she lost about 80 pounds of body fat. She was a completely different person. And we worked together for 6 months, 9 months, almost a whole year. And basically, I'm not saying like you losing 50 pounds of body fat takes a whole year. Losing 20 pounds of body fat could take up to 3 to 6 months. Okay. And now we are in winter and we're thinking of June. Okay, so June we're going to be swimming in the oceans in our pools, actually in our bathing suits, and that's only 24 weeks away. That sucks, right? So that's coming right around. We think that we're in the middle of winter, but actually it's right around the corner. But think about that. She lost 80 pounds of body fat. She got off her blood pressure medications. She was able to move her body physically more in one day. She increased her confidence in her business. She lost her sweet cravings. She knew how to nourish herself and had more self-control over food. And it wasn't a reactionary thing in terms of food. She was much more conscientious of how she was consuming and what she was consuming to be able to give herself the best platform to actually turn her health around. So, May, do you have a takeaway? What's your takeaway? What did you learn today on my lesson? Anything? What was the most important thing? Type it in. So while May's typing that in, tomorrow I'm bringing a guest expert in who is my meditation teacher, and I'm hoping that she will join us. She's chatted to me and said she's coming and all this stuff. So I'm hoping the timing is going to work out. But she's amazing. She is a trauma yoga therapist. And basically, we're going to go through some breath exercises tomorrow. but we're going to be really taking the moment to tune in to our body and really listen to our mind and what it's doing, and really listening closely. And I don't know how often you actually stop to listen, but this practice is going to help you actually tune in, because we cannot move forward without tuning in. So don't miss tomorrow. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to be very practical oriented. We're going to interact with that. Okay. So May was talking about finding the gap is the most important thing, choosing the right food and mindset. Yeah. And maybe I'll turn things around. Like on Wednesday, I'm going to do the eating for metabolism. On Wednesday, I'm going to do that instead of Thursday. But I want you to think about, what is your gap, and put that into the group today. What is your nourishment gap and your habits or your mindset gap? Where is the biggest problem for you? Think about where do you stumble the most? Where's the biggest challenge? And I'm going to tailor this week to make sure you all get what you need. So your interaction is really important, so that I can teach the right things to you, because everybody's different. Everybody has different needs. So congratulations, you guys. Congratulations on taking this step. This is, I know it's not like, it's like not a rah, like, like, yay, we're going to lose 20 pounds this week, blah, 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 we're on this challenge. It's more of a like sobering experience, right? But it's about an awakening experience. I want you to be awake this week. I want you to think about things a little bit differently and go into the new year tuning into yourselves and being peaceful and listening to what our body needs. Okay? I'm going to get into the mechanics. I'm going to get into what it means to help you change your body composition, to be stronger, and to lose body fat, and to turn your health around and decrease inflammation, and also help you put together the game plan. But this is the first step. Define what your gap is, identify what that is, and put that into the Make Life Delicious group page. And I'm going to put this graphic up into the page and just put your gap, what it is you specifically want to work on this week. All right. Was this good? How was this? Was I an okay teacher? Give me a thumbs up, or, okay, good. God bless you today. Congratulations on taking this step. This is the real deal. We're going to change your health around, and it's totally possible. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Don't miss every day. Join every single day so that you get what you need and that you have the ability to win some money towards a coaching program. All right. Talk to you soon. Yes. Excellent. Yay, May. May, thank you for joining in at 1 o'clock in the morning. I hope you get some sleep tonight. Okay, go get that sleep and sleep in tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I love you guys. And I just so appreciate you. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.